All right, we live?
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to The Last Relic. It's Gabriel, my co-host.
Anderson.
Awesome. So today we watched Firefly. I've watched it before. Anderson watched it for the first time.
Yep.
First thoughts?
It's an alright show. Definitely, out there. Doesn't seem much like my cup of tea, but it's cool.
You did just watch episode 1.
Yeah.
Main thing, I think, is just the characters. Like, episode 1, great introduction, world building. Usually people watch the first 2 episodes together.
Yeah.
Because that's where, you get the world building, you get the beginning, and then the start of, the action, stuff like that. There's some really, really good writing. Some little wonky stuff in there, but overall pretty good. I think the characters, they're very distinct. That's something... Yeah, that's something that I miss. A lot of the movies that are just all generic, or they're like a copycat from a previous movie, from a previous, property. Sure. Yeah. And then sometimes the actors don't even have range, so you're just seeing the same actor doing the same thing in different roles.
Like Seth Rogen.
Yeah. At least when they don't show his face, he's a little more palatable, like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess what was your favorite character so far? And what do you like about that character?
Favorite character? It's between the captain and the pilot, dude.
And the pilot? Really?
Yeah.
I felt like this episode we didn't get much of the pilot.
We didn't, but the little bit he was on there, it's It was fun. Yeah, he's definitely a character that I could see a lot of for.
I laugh a lot with Shane. He's very much like I'm just here to do my job and I don't want any complications, so let's just kill everything.
Yeah, basically.
Like you said, also you like the shepherd. I like him too, and I think how they ended it, they gave us, because the captain doesn't seem one-dimensional at all.
Yeah.
But he's there teetering on the line until, and then he does these unexplainable moves, but usually kind of deals with a lot of anger, right?
Yeah.
Then the last one, it shows that he actually does have a heart, and he does have things to play. He thinks ahead. Yeah. But he's more and the last line where he's just know this: if I'm gonna kill you, you'll be awake, we'll be facing eye to eye, and you'll be armed.
Yeah.
So he's saying I'm a man of honor.
Yeah, he's got a code of honor.
Yeah, and everything that he was doing shows that he's not there to screw over anybody. He knows that other people are scumbags, just like Patience goes to her planet, her town, and he knows that there's a possibility of her doing something shady.
Yeah.
Right. But he still even holds out a little bit of hope. There's a transaction. Let's do this. And then, there's a whole shootout.
Yeah. Which
I thought was a nice shootout. They had a sniper and whatnot.
I thought it was all right. I mean, it was weird that they weren't hitting each other, even though they were so close. At least hit the horse. Well,
the thing is, a lot of them had their guns holstered, and they're also on a horse, so it does take longer to take out your gun. But also, they shot first.
Yeah.
So they're on top of horses. They're mounted. It's kind of an easier target. The shootout wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But he expected it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah. It isn't a show I like or dislike. I'm kind of neutral on it. I'm sure that as I go on, it'll probably get better.
Yeah, and it's a show that I want you to watch all the way through, so that you can you could just see where we didn't get more seasons of and whatnot, and actually had good writing, and you can actually focus more on the characters. Because there's shoddy CGI, there's really good CGI at some parts, but it's a new thing, and you liking space and westerns, the combination of the two is a very complicated thing to do.
It is.
And I think the first episode they got it right in terms of the characters first, because it's very much no nonsense. all the characters know real life except for the shepherd. Really, he's gone through some experiences, but he doesn't question his faith, but he questions his feelings because he's like, I don't think the captain was wrong, and yet he killed somebody. And it shows like I forget if they do touch on it, but in I think with a lot of religious beliefs, they don't understand where it's like murder is the problem, not killing.
Yeah.
Like if you translate the commandments in the Bible in Hebrew, the actual word that is used in it is murder. Thou shalt not murder, not thou shalt not kill. And we all know that King James Version is the Bible that everybody should rely on in terms of religions that follow the Bible, because it's the best translated. But even then, there's a lot of mistakes in terms of the numbers and all that, and when certain things happen at what times, and in the same stories, there's mistakes. Yeah. So there's obviously going to be interpretation mistakes. Also, King James was running; he's trying to not die, and then got killed for translating it. But it's important to know the kind of writing mistakes people can make, because obviously then it's somewhat newer information, and at the time you see like they don't really have cell phones when this show was created. It wasn't like as advanced as like, okay, we got the smartphones, and so then there's things that if like the story could have played out differently, everybody had a smartphone, right? But it's also, it takes place in the future. It takes place where there's multiple stuff going on. They mentioned terraforming. They mentioned cannibals, like all this stuff, because Reapers is the main like fear in terms of everybody fears them. Now everybody, there's respect and disrespect towards the Alliance. We're following somebody who was against the Alliance, and that's the captain. And he I think like not showing, especially in the first episode, the Reapers. That was a smart move, because we let our imaginations play. Like, are they even human? Like, the things she says, like the first thing she says, like, what happens if they board? Remember what she said?
Yep, I do.
What she said?
I ain't gonna tell them within 7 minutes.
Dang. I think 7 minutes is fine.
I don't think so.
Well, she said that what they'll do is, what was it? Rape them to death, cut their skin off, and sew it to their bodies, and then eat the rest.
Yep.
And she said, lucky,
they'll do it in that order.
That was freaking terrifying. Like when you hear that, you're like, oh my gosh, this is for real. And they more so kept track on them than actually followed them.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know what, we're a little hungry, let's go after these guys. And because of the captain's experience, and he has a great mechanic, like they kind of lean into like, oh, the engines just speak to me. Like Kate, is it Katie or Katie? Kate,
I think.
Yeah, Kate. She's the mechanic. She messes with the engine, the engineer, the mechanic, whatever it's supposed to be. And she kind of says like, no, it's just always come easy to me. She's very innocent, and what like the character is more like she has her quirks, but she more so cares about very certain things. And so you see that she probably just cares about the engines a lot. And because of her innocence, like she has a simplicity, a simple mind to it. Yeah. Now, it's not like pure innocence. The innocence of like she is just a happy person. She just cares about adventure and things like that. She's an adult woman, but you still see her as a little bit like, oh, she's cute. And the doctor like kind of has somewhat of an interest to her. Yeah. But it's more like he's still worried about like his sister. Yeah. Right. Now there's like little twists and turns, which is something I appreciate. The captain's really just trying to make ends meet. Basically. He's trying to get into the next job. Like, there's no more goal into like making the world a better place. He was a military man. He was part of the war. That's like the first scene it shows. And I guess we could go from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. So first thoughts on the beginning of the episode. We go in.
The whole battle thing. Yeah. It's cool. Closest I've ever seen to something like that, apart from like an actual like war movie. And I'm gonna keep bringing this movie up because it's like they're pretty much the same thing, just one that's executed a lot better than the other. Solo. How it goes from him just being a street rat to just straight up getting put in the front line.
I hate that movie, but okay.
It was kind of like that because you went from a military person with like with a sense of honor and a goal you're supposed to be following, sense of duty.
Okay.
So then just a smuggler. Like, yeah, you still have that sense of honor, but
well, Solo was more like he never had the honor. He like cared about the girl, and he was trying to get out, and then he just recruited.
I meant some character wise. The scene is what it reminded me of.
Okay. Yeah.
No, character wise, yeah, it's like Han Solo's like he's an asshole, but he cares. So
yeah,
kind of like that kind of thing. And he does end up becoming very high ranking in the Alliance, the Rebel Alliance. So
yeah, but this is Disney canon. That's bullcrap canon. Yeah.
No, he's also a general in the originals.
The Rebel Alliance, yeah. Oh, when you said Alliance, sorry, I thought you meant
I said the Rebel Alliance.
Like the Empire.
Yeah. So,
okay, yeah.
It was cool to see. I don't know. I think they could have done a little better with the weapons. They still seem just kind of weapons of the time.
Yeah, well, that's something I actually appreciate because it's like they're doing a space western, but they're doing it very much as in like, okay, we got the technology for spaceships and traveling through space and making things quicker, but like as you see the world, it's not that much more advanced. Like,
well, what I mean is not that I don't appreciate them using the weapons. It's just like they could have gone just a little step further to making it seem more of a step towards an improvement of the weapon rather than it just still being that same weapon.
No, you see, but that's where I think they did that. Now, in my point of view, it's like, okay, when we're messing with technology, when we're advancing, the weapons aren't usually the first thing that we're thinking of, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're thinking of the buildings, the communications, like a lot of it is traveling spaceships and all that.
Yeah.
And so then there is an upgrade to the weaponry. Like a lot of them look like regular weapons, shoot out lasers, but they still use bullets. They use practical stuff.
Yeah, they do.
And it's more like, since they don't touch on it, there's the headcanon space where like your imagination runs it. Like, okay, we see some of the guns from the Alliance, right? Like the lawman, he has that weird pistol, and then you see the when the like City Alliance ship comes in and they're raiding the I guess ruins or whatever it's called in space, like the damaged space shuttle or something, and they're trying to salvage the stuff. You see them. Right, their outfits and stuff that have advanced somewhat, and their technology for sure, but even the clothing they wear is very much real. They still wear belts. They wear all this stuff. So it's like, okay, this isn't a world outside of our own. It's just a few. Yeah. It's just some time in the future. Because like right now we're talking about like. In the real world, we're talking about time travel. Yeah. And not that we're getting close to that, but we're also talking about space travel a lot, especially with Elon Musk and all that stuff, with NASA and SpaceX and how fast we can get to Mars or whatnot, how to create wormholes if possible, all this stuff in the real world that we're talking about now. I think like it's appropriate that they use some of the older guns.
I guess so.
You know, and then advance those.
I mean, it would
Yeah.
make sense that you would have like more older styled weapons and like, I don't know, outer moons that still haven't been like fully civilized.
I also think like it would be practical for smugglers because they don't jam really like as much as the newer weapons do. You know, I think they need less maintenance.
Well, the newer weapon. Well, I guess I haven't really seen what newer weapons would look like. But in my mind, if newer weapons are
like
made
okay,
out of,
like a Colt. You know more about guns than I do. So like a Colt 45 versus, you know, a Glock. Like
it won't jam because it has no weight to jam.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, they have their guns that shoot lasers, and then they got their guns that shoot bullets. You know, like regular bullets. So they'll probably rely on something that doesn't require as much maintenance in terms of jamming or a whole lot of cleaning all the time. The bullets need to be practical and cheaper.
Yeah,
you know?
That's fair.
So
that one's fair. I mean, I wouldn't see a laser weapon jamming more than a regular weapon, but I guess upkeep would be higher than
and probably more expensive, you know, like, and we see them in the war, they're using those weapons.
Yeah.
And on their own, they're not. So there's like a form of practicality to it.
Yeah.
You know, I like also that they utilize everything they got, which meaning like the ship. Like they're not just smugglers and trying to find the next job. Like they're taking passengers on cargo. They'll do what they can to survive.
Yeah, basically.
So and like their whole mission as a crew was just to let's get repairs, let's get some fuel, and let's go for the next job. You know, that's what we got. And now because of what's currently happening, you know, like there's a fugitive and two fugitives from the law. The Alliance the lawman smuggled on board, essentially. Not smuggled, but he was undercover. He's a mole. Right? And I think one thing that many shows don't do well, and they did really well, they fleshed out a lot of the characters in the introduction. Right? Like the chick is married to the pilot, right? I forget her name. But you can see that she's very much like, she knows how to follow orders. She knows when to keep her mouth shut as a soldier and when to trust her captain.
Yeah.
And she knows that she's going to be right a lot of the time, so she's ready. Even right as in like when the captain is doing a move that she considers unwise.
Yeah.
Right? But there is still a level of respect there. And because they serve together, they also have that respect within each other. Like he's not just her captain, they are friends.
Yeah.
So there's that. And you see like his joy, even in the war, like how much he cares about people, how much he treats them. He's very nice and whatnot, considerate. And then how he treats his crew. He does treat them fairly, but he's a little more hardened.
Yeah.
And even what they did right was like confuse the audience a little bit. You see Shane, and he's kind of like some of the muscle on the crew. He's funny guy, as in, and also in universe funny. He's not making jokes, the camera jokes that I hate, where like you make a joke and then you look at the camera to see the audience, like haha. You don't know where he's gonna waver because he is just hired. He says whatever the hell he wants. He doesn't have much respect for anybody. He's in it for himself, but he also like, you know, he doesn't care anything about money. But then you get a little bit towards the end, you're like, okay, like he's a little loyal, you know, but we're still like on the fence about him because there's the scene where the lawman tries to bribe him, and we still don't know how the lawman got that like knife to cut open. Like it could be that he expected to get caught, and you know he's a lawman, so he probably he's alone on a mission. And apparently a mission so valuable that the guy can fund his own ship better than the current ship they're on and their own crew if he turns the girl in. Which is a pretty big deal. Now you could say Shane maybe calculated it and he's like, well, I'm not really a captain. I don't know much about ships. and it's going to be hard to get a crew, and that's the main issue. You know, so maybe I could stay on for some experience. Whatever his reasoning is, he decides not to do it. And then when the sniper, he's aiming at his captain the whole time, and he only starts aiming after when the money is thrown back.
Yeah.
So like they did really well making the audience feel like, I don't know about the Shane guy. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, is he gonna betray him in the future? Like, what's up with that? Like, is he gonna be a problem for the crew itself?
Yeah.
You know. But the companion, what did you think about the companion?
She was kind of there. She definitely seemed like she had more than just that to her character. She definitely seemed like a lot of people who get put into that kind of line of work. There's those that do it because they want to do it. There's those that are forced into it. And then there's like, maybe it was like the only way.
Yeah, and like because her character was intriguing, like there's that mystery of like, why is she in this line of work? Because she talks about like, I guess her planet or where she's from. It's like, man, it's so beautiful. Like I would have never left. And she kind of has this like sad look on her face. And the way it's acted and the way the scene plays, it's like, okay, we can't tell if she like left from her own free will, wanted to travel the universe or whatever.
Yeah.
Or she was sold, or she enjoys this line of work, but we know that she's in it and this is what she's good at. She's also smart.
Yeah.
She's not an idiot, right? Yeah, like we don't know much about her from the first episode. Now, like we see that she gets offended a few times. Yeah. Like the first guy that she's with, he's like, "Oh, the time was too short." He's like, "Yeah, your clock is probably sped up, like so that you could kick me out quicker." Right? And so she took offense to it. She was like kind of mad about that.
Yeah.
Now we don't know if it's true or not, but she did get upset. Like I might be a companion, but I'm pissed about that. And then it seemed, for two reasons, the captain was uncomfortable with the shepherd on the ship. Because right from the bat, you're like, "Oh, you're a preacher? Is that a problem?" No, not at all. Hopefully it's not a problem for you. And then he introduces him to the companion, calls her a whore. And he's like, "That's not going to be a problem for you, preacher, right?" But then you see him at the dinner table and they want to pray. And everybody prays but him.
Yeah.
So, like, again, great mystery. Like, we don't know, like, did he used to believe before? Is he mad at God or something like that because the war didn't go the right way and he's always felt like he's been a good person? You know, he's an honorable man. Like, he's doing the right things to their lifestyle, like, to the people he works with. You know, he's very much like, he has standards.
Yeah.
And he has morals. You know, he'll kill when he needs to, but he'll take care of the people when he needs to as well.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
And he very much takes care of his people. Like, oh, you're just here for him? Awesome. Like the scene where the lawman finds the fugitive and like reveals himself to be the lawman. They're in pretty much the cargo area. And the captain's there, just pretty much punched the dude in the face because he's not supposed to be there. Nobody's supposed to go to the cargo unaccompanied. And then the lawman is like pointing the gun, and he's like, "No, I'm here for him." And he's like, "Oh, awesome! Is there a reward?" You know, like
yeah,
for turning him in. And I kind of forget. I know we just watched it, but I forget if he said something like, "Oh, everybody's gonna be turned in" or something. But yeah, later on with Shane interrogating. The captain knows that there's going to be an offer. So what was smart about the captain knew he was going to get information, but he also wanted to test a member of his crew.
Yeah.
You know, and we get that conclusion at the end of the episode. You know, and they did a good job of like keeping the whole episode we're a little bit on edge.
Yeah.
Is there any like parts that stuck out to you in the show that you really liked or you really didn't like?
What I think was interesting was that the captain's revolver had a magazine. That's what stuck to me, because I saw him like do it, and then he takes it out, and then he just puts it back in. And I was like,
Oh, I didn't catch that.
oh, okay, all right. Then I ignore the giant cylinder. Okay,
I didn't catch that.
that was like the one thing. And then when the soldiers were there, one of the M16s had the thing on the handle, the carrying handle. It had a scope on it, but that would be kind of uncomfortable to use. So why is that all the way up there? So that's what stuck to me. And then I guess the horses. How the hell did they get them there?
Where?
That other moon that they were going to meet the old lady at.
Well, that like I'm not too worried about. Like there's traveling. Like
I was
there's
just like, okay,
like they probably brought him when like she's almost the mayor. She's been
yeah,
She's
fair.
been in that town for a long time. Like, so whether she brought him or somebody else brought him years before, like, I'm not too worried about that one.
Also,
You know?
what also stuck out to me that the sniper that they were using, it looked like a toy.
Yeah.
Like that one straight up looked like a toy. I was like, okay, I can believe the rest, but that just kind of looks.
So the guns, yeah.
yeah, the guns was stuck out to me.
Okay, yeah, like that's good to know because I didn't pick up on any of that stuff. Like, I'm not a gun guy, and yeah, like what kind of, I know you want it to be more futuristic, but what kind of differences would you make to the guns that they currently have?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of if it's more futuristic, you know, I like my little lasers here and there, and like. I don't know. That's really mainly it. Like, I don't know, give them a little light or something. just something that to signify it isn't a regular gun.
Yeah.
It's like a future gun.
Yeah, I gotcha. No, like, all right, like, but what stuck out to you that you liked, that you really appreciated or something?
Costume designs, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty grounded. Realistic enough to where, like, yeah, I can see myself wearing that if it ever happened.
Yeah.
They weren't like out there like some series. They were just kind of robes and shirts.
Because when you think about it, it's like, okay, if you think about Star Wars as like the sci-fi part, it's in a galaxy far, far away. Very different things are going on, so it's not taking from. Like they wore clothes like us and then advanced, slacks to jeans to whatever.
Yeah.
So it looks very much like also practical use.
Mm-hmm.
So they got jeans and slacks and, your button-up shirts and things like that. Things are more practical.
And then what? He had the, what are those things called?
Overalls?
Yeah, the overall.
Yeah.
The pants.
Yeah,
That was pretty funny.
Suspenders.
What are those suspenders?
Suspenders where you attach to pants and go over.
They look like they were part of the pants. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, maybe, but
yeah,
they're not like overalls where it's all the way up here.
Yeah,
like
enough.
Farmer overalls.
Yeah.
No, like that's how I think. Even in our civilization, like unless you're having a uniform for work or something like that, you're gonna be wearing jeans. Like I think we've gotten in terms of clothing, we're not gonna get past this.
No.
Like we're still gonna have button-up shirts till the end of time, jeans, maybe more comfortable jeans, but like all we need is a sturdy material.
Those Chuck Norris kicking jeans.
Yeah, like like I love the Matrix, but you know how hot leather gets. Like,
yeah.
I ain't wearing leather.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that was like the thought before. Like I guess the 80s and 90s was like, if it's in the future, it's leather.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's a little crazy choice. Like everybody's wearing leather now.
Guess it would be cheaper.
Cheaper
In the future? Like if you can clone the cow, yeah, you can mass produce leather.
I guess, yeah. I guess that makes sense. But yeah. All right, but I think overall the costume design, I think you're right on that. I'd give the first episode a probably solid 7.5 out of 10.
I'd give it a 7.
Yeah.
Nothing less than that, for sure not.
Yeah, I don't think anything less. I don't think anything more. Like if I were to put in categories, I think characterization, a good 9 out of 10.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think design, I think for me 10 out of 10. I like the clunkiness. That's a personal thing.
Design's like a 7.6 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ship is cool too. I like that they do show a lot of the parts of the ship.
Yeah.
I just don't like the shape of it. I just don't like the shape of it. And then
I think it's a wacky looking ship.
What
yeah.
I did appreciate was that the giant weird engine thing at the back did serve some purpose. Because yeah, the regular fuel engines can work out in space and it can't propel you, but that would just be wasting more than anything.
Yeah.
And then I don't know however the hell that thing works, but it's cool that it uses that for propelling itself forward in space.
Yeah.
And then in the atmosphere use like regular engines. So that was cool.
No, yeah, they were able to show like a lot of it, a lot of functions. The side, I guess, escape ships that the companion uses.
The shuttles, yeah.
The shuttles, yeah. You see like there's similar designs throughout.
Yeah.
But the Alliance ships they look more related to actual jets. In the beginning, like the smaller jets, the ones that like had the glowing green, that's different. That's like those are giant carrier shuttles, right? And then they pretty much have ships that are the size of cities.
Yeah, their actual fighters are like
they're fighter jets. So I like that. Like I think design for this universe, I'd have no qualms about it personally.
I dig it. It's just on the weirder side for me.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I understand that, but I do like it. Like that, a lot of people don't really have a sense of style. The rich people do. They're like you could tell like the ones that have more money, they do have a sense of style because they probably can afford it. But like even the guy that they were working with, he had his little bowler hat.
Yeah,
it was all like, messed up, a little dirty, all that, and he's the guy with the money. And he's wearing that with like these gloves and then like somewhat of a trench coat or something and a scarf, like, and it's in the desert.
Yep.
And like, okay, so he looks like the part, but yeah, like he doesn't have a perfectly nice hat. And I like how it shows all the people. Like they should look rough in the rough part.
I agree.
Of things, in like the spaceport.
I like the majority of the buildings just being like shipping containers that were like repurposed.
That
was cool.
Yeah.
That I can see like in any apocalypse situation if you're able to put shipping containers up like buildings.
We're also like on planets where like the Alliance may visit and police.
They may be there,
but they're not accompanied by the
like I wouldn't be
Alliance.
surprised if like just like the Alliance base or like station is the only one with like an actual proper building.
Yeah. Well, we see it like they're very polished.
Yeah. The uniforms are okay. They kind of remind me of Starship Troopers uniforms.
A little bit, yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, I think like as we go on, you'll start seeing more of the Alliance and more of people who've worked with the Alliance, people who have worked with the captain and all that stuff, and like how they do everything. Like they do really good world building, and we stay in this perspective of the captain, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I thought so.
Because also we get all his experiences. So one thing I love about the captain is he knows when to do things. Like he is a no nonsense guy. He gets straight to the point.
Yeah. He's
not messing around like but he's also a good character. Like and obviously we're gonna get more fleshed out. But I think Firefly, and that's one of the things I miss that I wish we got more in TV shows and movies. It's like we need time to get to know characters.
Yeah.
Like one thing a movie that I love that we never really get to know the characters is The Hobbit, right? Like even though we get Bilbo and Gandalf, they're assuming the knowledge that we've had from before, and then they add a little bit of characters to it. But this is Gandalf right before seeing the dragon and all that stuff. So we should have got like a little more. Like he does say like, I used to know your descendants or your uncle or great grandfather. And then there's a little thing back and forth with Bilbo. And yeah, there's not much to know about Bilbo. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But, you know, and they do give us good character moments. So we do get a little buildup of that. But other than Thorin and maybe Fili and Kili, we don't really get to know the rest. It's, I think, 13 characters 13, total that we have to follow. And the rest are just kind of there. And then we get the old dwarf that gives us a little wise, and then the cool looking one that is just tough. And then, you know, like Bomber, he's just fat and bubbly. Like, you know, you get that kind of like character based off their look. But not really like in depth. Yeah, I agree. You know, and I would say probably the one out of the bunch that's more memorable is the older one. I think Balin. Yeah, where he, you know, he's talking about when he saw Thorin in battle, and you know, he's talking about it, and when he like is worried about the dragon disease or curse or whatever at the end.
The dragon sickness.
Yeah, dragon sickness. You know, that kind of stuff like that's good, but like we didn't get the rest with everybody else. And I was okay with the Rivendell scene in the first movie, and you know, seeing Galadriel and everybody, that was awesome. But there's some things that could have been taken out. Yeah, you know, there's some things in the second movie that could have been definitely taken out, and we could have gotten more characterization from each dwarf. You know, where like all of them played a role in the ultimate battle. Yeah. So the first episode, I'm glad that it was tame. That it wasn't fast paced. It wasn't these big conglomerate action sequences that something crazy happens. No, like we're getting to know the characters. They're in some trouble. They're trying to get out of it. And, you know, we get some development. Like something's happening where like they're gonna be off course. He makes emotional decisions, and he's going to take care of these fugitives somewhat, because also a very well calculated decision. He feels bad for him, but more importantly for him is that they need a medic on board. He saw Katie get shot, and Katie is, you know, the child of the group. Yeah. The smallest one of the group. Might be the youngest, yeah. Yeah, might be the youngest. And it's an eye-opening realization, like, okay, if that happened, like I'm bringing passengers on, this could be an issue in the future again. So we need a medic. Yeah. Boom. You're a good doctor. Like, and also it wasn't just we need a doctor, so I'm hiring this guy. It's like, no, you're also not weak. Like, you're not, he's like, I don't think you're very bright in terms of real life situations, but he says you're not weak, and that's something. So I need somebody who can be a little tougher and also be a medic. Yeah. And that's something that you got. And it's probably because he took like 2 to 3 years finding his sister, you know, and smuggling her out of this place and dealing with rough characters. Yeah. You know, I agree. So there's a lot, you know, and like it sets up nicely to like we're getting a little more mystical stuff where it's not just a space western. Like we're like there was times where the sister, I forget her name, but she like kind of felt something was off. Yeah. And he said that he's gifted, so like she's supposed to be really smart, and there's a lot of kids that are very, very intelligent. Yeah. So it kind of reminded me a little bit about Gundam, where like the new types, yeah, they're in space and they get like telekinesis a little bit within each other. Yeah. And they could kind of see the future, sort of, and they're just built different. Yeah. You know, and then like, okay, there's these kids, I guess, around the galaxy that are born, and they're a little more intelligent. They pick up things quicker. It's not like they're just smart. They pick things up naturally. Yeah. And so, you know, you give them a book to learn language, they'll read the book and they'll know the language. You know, they don't have to read it 100 times over, stuff like that. So we're getting these like, okay, they were hurting them and messing with their mind. So human experiments. Yeah. So the Alliance, it's setting up that the Alliance also not necessarily the good guys. But we don't, other than the Reapers, those are the only true bad guys.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Like, if you look at government side of things, government's always been. We always hear about governments in it for themselves and things like that. But in this movie, we could tell that they could be considered the bad guys because the government is feared by the people, right? Yeah. So that's a problem. Mm-hmm. When the government is feared by the people, then we have a dictatorship. Don't really have a government anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
And the alliance is, just by the implication of the name, means multiple people decided on this. Multiple groups decided to come together for a single purpose and accomplish a goal. But also, from what we see, it's very one-minded, very one-sided, very much you cannot trust them.
Yeah, basically.
So we don't know how everything works politically, the electoral stuff, but at least based off the first episode. But we do know that we can't trust the alliance. They're experimenting on people. They are in for themselves. Regular people are scared.
Without the what the alliance being put in there, you also get kind of like a biased view on it from the captain.
Yeah.
Because he fought against them. So.
Yeah, you get that, but the thing is, we get it from
all
all the other
get it
characters.
From every other character.
Because also it's like, how many times does the ship get commandeered by the alliance? Mm-hmm. So he's worried about it, but at the same time, it's like it's not unnatural. So everybody's like, okay, yeah, everybody but him was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, whatever. Mm-hmm. Because and he says like alliance says jump.
Yeah.
You jump. So there's implications, and also the other dudes that he's working with is like, wait a minute, the alliance, they're on your tail. I just got heard of it, so I'm not messing with anything the alliance does.
Yeah. I was about to say that.
Yeah. But overall, I think I was the same way with you. When I first watched it, mm-hmm. I told you my thoughts. I'm like, man, that ship maybe not better than the Falcon, but I could see why some people think so. It's bigger. There's better things about it, you know. And then the captain being better than Han Solo. For me, first episode, I'm like, yeah, he's better than Han Solo. I love Han Solo, but I think overall better character. Now, I was on the same boat. I was like, you know what? This isn't really my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. I'm not, and I personally, I'm not super into Westerns and sci-fis. I'm very limited to the things I like.
The music. Yeah. That's what I was going to touch on.
Yeah.
When you said that. Yeah, it just sounded like pretty much a Western.
Yeah.
It reminds you of the cutaways from Cowboy Bebop where it would pull out the harmonica. I was that's cool. That's cool. That's a little callback. I'm going to continue that.
Yeah,
I'll probably restart it.
Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while, huh?
Like 7 episodes and then forgot all about it.
Yeah, I've done that. No, but music was great, but the design, and then I was like, I'm gonna stick with it because I'm more interested in what's gonna happen with the characters. Mm-hmm. Like the one that hooked me was Shane the first time I watched him. Like, is he ever gonna betray him? Yeah. Like that's something. I knew the girl was gonna survive after find out he was just joking.
Yeah.
And then the captain, and then also I'm like, I want to see the Reapers. I want to see what they look like.
I do want to see what they look like.
Yeah. So that kind of hooked me on, and then I think it was the third episode for me. After the end of the third one, I was like, all right, I'm in it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna because the second episode, you'll see it's like a train heist. There's mm-hmm. some things. And overall, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I don't think this second episode is enough to kind of get you. If you're in it for the action, I think you'll stick around. But it's not enough, I think, to get you staying that long. Mm-hmm. But the third episode kind of
picks up.
It picks up because they give a lot of information.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of action, and there's a little bit of gravitas to it. But yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what your thoughts are because I've watched it 3 times.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Man, it's like every time I hear the word Reaper and the way they described them, the scene kept playing in my head where Cobb Vanth is sitting down with the Tusken Raiders. He's like, you sit down, I'm going to put a hole through. And I'm like, well, if these people are that much of like of animals, well, what's really being done here by anyone about them? If they're so like they're so widespread, well, not really. It's like from what I heard, it was like, oh, every other year or every year, it just keeps going out of their range further into the galaxy.
Yeah, because they're kind of like on the outer side of when they start coming in.
Yeah.
So to this point, I think as the audience, we still don't know if they're like if they were humanoids or they're like what are they? You know?
Yeah.
They obviously mess with technology, but they're more adaptable to space because even the pilot's like, that's suicide. They're not operating with this engine, and then all he can think is Reapers. And then you get the ship, and you're like, yeah, that ship is pretty heavily damaged.
Yeah.
It's a big ship, but it is fast, and it is, you know, like you don't mess with it. And that's and I think that's the other thing is, okay, like we got that Alliance ship, right? That city thing, and then all the fighters.
I did hate the Alliance looking ship.
I loved it. I was like,
it would have been kind of cool if it was on its side. That would have been more ship-like.
No, I like that it didn't really look like a ship, and it was just in space.
I guess
it's kind of like the first time when I was a kid that was the Death Star. I didn't get that it was a space station. I was like, wait, this thing moves? This giant moon-looking thing moves? You know, so like I got the same thing for me, and I don't know, like there's also the fear of the Reapers. So even them, I don't think they would like risk trying to destroy the Reaper ship because it's like if we engage, there's no threat yet of them going to attack the leaders of the Alliance or a planet being inhabited and controlled by the Alliance. So they would just let it pass. They don't want to get into conflict because I think even like the regular soldier, like, all right, you're the fighter, go out there, like, oh, they're gonna rape me.
They're gonna rape me and eat me.
Yeah, like I love the Alliance, but not as much as like being cannibalized and raped at the same time.
Yeah,
like they're gonna like, and because that's also the other possibility. Like they might like rape them, cut them, and eat them at the same time.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? You're screwed, man.
Situation. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they did a really good job in terms of also keeping the mystery alive. It keeps us in it. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Like I would say, like we watched it together, but watch it on your own. You know, maybe show it to your dad or something, and then you tell me how far you get.
Okay.
Because the last time I watched it, I binged it. I was like, I'm watching all this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then the movie we can watch together, like the last one. Because, man, like that it gets nutty. It's they leave some things open, which is good. Because I think you could tell, when you watch the movie, you could tell that they didn't know if they were going to get another season. Or like if this movie was going to be like it, you know, or if this movie was going to make it so that like the fans, an uproar of the fans or something like that. It's very contained. But they closed things off where they needed to close off. There's some shocking decisions. And it was a good conclusion. And, you know, this is a series that I recommend if people are kind of just sick of watching your regular show that's going to suck over time or that just sucks. You know, the current shows. It's a nice callback to when people took risks. You know, because every show now it's more like, oh, somebody did this thing, now I'm going to do the same thing, but little different.
Yeah, it's a break from normalcy for sure.
Yeah, so I recommend it, and it's come to the point where the fans, we've all reconciled that like this is what we got, and I'm happy with it, and I'm never going to get more of it. Not that we don't want more of it, but at this point, I don't think anybody wants more now.
Yeah,
because it's like we got what we got, and I'm happy about it. Like I would say I did a whole run through around a year or two ago, and I was like, man, I hope they do more because like it wasn't enough for me. But then and then brought that memory back. But then I'm like, wait, they're not gonna do more, and this was good.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when you want a show to keep continuing. Like Smallville for me, it wasn't enough because we didn't see him in the Superman suit at the end. Like we saw him and the Superman suit, but fast and like the S, and then that's it. And you're like, damn. Well, we kind of get to see him in the Superman suit, sort of, but we don't get to see him the whole episode in the Superman suit. So I could like, even though I think Smallville got 12 seasons, 10 or 12 seasons, and dude, I love all of them, even the crazy wacky stuff. I love it. I can, if they brought back Smallville, I'd be on for another 8 seasons.
Cool.
For sure. Because then it's like Superman. Like they could even call it Metropolis, and then just, you know, like that's the continuation of Smallville, where he's a Superman actually, you know, doing Superman things.
I guess so.
But yeah, but it's not like that. It's very much like it's ended.
Yeah.
It's a contained story, so it's kind of like those one-off movies where, well, now I guess a regular movie. We're so used to sequels all the time that we're expecting more and more and more. It was like, no, we can move on and get something else and have enjoyment.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's great when we have universes. Like you were watching Van Helsing just recently, and we're excited about the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's the thing. We should have a continuation of monsters in the same world. They don't have to be connected movies, but in the same world, like I think we should have it. Like
even if you're gonna reboot them and like kind of redo the monster entirely again with a completely different story, and somehow you find a way to connect them all without, like, I don't know, undermining the rest, that would be kind of cool to see.
Yeah,
but
like
at the same time,
give an example.
I don't have an example. Actually, I guess the way Goosebumps kind of did it, like where they would establish their own little like monsters here and there, and then there'll be a novel where they'll put more than one in that novel.
What about Hotel Transylvania, dude?
That doesn't count.
I love Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, but
I think they did a good job in Van Helsing. You know.
Yeah.
They gave the Frankenstein's monster a different purpose, because before it was like Dr. Frankenstein exists and now everybody hates him.
Yeah.
You know, but then it's like, oh, but because he could bring to life, he's the energy source for Dracula's children, right?
Yeah, because he's alive.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like a lot of. I think Van Helsing was one of those things that brought things together. It could have been a longer movie because they didn't do anything with the zombies.
It could have been a lot
you
more.
know, yeah, and could have been better written, but it's still phenomenal for what we got. And I think it was a good intertwining. You know, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, they tried doing that. Writing was insane. Like they did too much and too little at the same time.
Yeah.
It was nuts. Still, watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
I'm gonna rewatch it because I don't remember jack from that movie.
Like I'd say, pay attention to the details, like the little details in the back. Like for instance, when they go to Venice, first of all, they have a giant, massive Goliath yacht.
Yeah. That
is going through the streets of Venice, and I'm like, dude, the streets of Venice are not that deep, so that's insane. But when their soldiers come out. Like the design on the freaking outfits is phenomenal. So much attention to detail, and it's not that they don't do anything with it. It's shocking. Like they get blown up because they're trying to get to the bombs before, and then they realize they can't. And like they don't realize it. They just get there too late, and then when they get out and they're lined up to ready go find these things, it goes off.
Yeah.
So it's not like they subvert your expectations in a good way, as in, oh, the heroes don't get to where they actually like need to do and like fix the problem.
Yeah.
Like they don't get to the problem before, you know. So like it's a little more real. Like they get to the problem as it happened.
Yeah.
Actually, like it happened as soon as they got there. And they got screwed too, and so now they're trying to recover. They do this whole like little weird building thing, where like if we blow up this other building, we could stop these buildings, and then like everybody will be fine. Like what the freak is happening? Yeah, but you know the lessons of like he's teaching the kid like don't shoot like that. You Americans always shoot from the hip. Like you take your time and aim. You know, like there's no shame in that kind of thing. Like let's do. Like if you keep shooting from the hip, you're just shooting bullets or missing. Like, take your time. You know. Like,
I think shoot from the hip. It's good if you're taking someone by surprise. Not practical. and okay,
that's the whole meaning. Yeah, because the guy's like running away. He knows he's getting shot at, and he's just like, it's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah,
what a waste.
Fair.
Because also you got like regular guns. You don't got like a 16 magazine or you know, like you got freaking revolvers.
Oh, so 6 on each. Cool.
Yeah. So boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So when you get there, you're out of bullets, dude.
Yeah.
You know. And so yeah, there's some things that I think. Well, there's a lot of things. It's actually what made Sean Connery retired. That movie. He's like, I'm not doing no movies ever again because like my reign is over. It's kind of a sad thing, but like I get it. Like he hated the movie so much that like the movie flopped so badly that he's like, well, I'm out now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did another movie after that, but I'm pretty sure that's the movie that like ended him.
I think that might have been it.
It was like 2004, 2003 or something.
Yeah, that might have been it.
And if you didn't know, before that, Sean Connery turned the role of Gandalf.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be Gandalf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Because that script made more sense.
Cool.
That's crazy.
Cool.
But yeah, it's it's nuts. Now the reason why I say like we can have a monsterverse and not have them connected, but in the same universe, is because you give me something as crazy as Dr. Frankenstein, as crazy as Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, saying there's nothing else. There's no Wolfman. There's no Dracula. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be more. Like, they don't have to be in the same city, in the same state, same country, same continent.
What I would like, it's if like, if they were to connect them, it would be like a subtle way. Like how you know how when he's in the Vatican City or whatever the hell underground thing Val Helsing is in, when they're flipping through the book, it mentions a hell of a lot more monsters.
Yeah.
And they're like they're either dead or unknown, and I'm like, okay, so you just let us know there are more monsters out there, and he can't be the only one out there hunting.
Yeah. So there's a world of hunters, and I think that's why a lot of people gravitate to Supernatural so much. Is not only because of the good characterization and some decent writing in the beginning, but there's a group, like there's people that understand like almost like a creed.
Yeah.
Like there's hunters. They might not all like each other. They might have different methods.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody kind of has the same goal: hunt these monsters, let's get rid of them.
Yeah.
I think the showrunner and the director of Supernatural, their biggest mistake was not having too much religion in it. Like, yeah, there's angels and demons and they talk about the Bible, but it's like no, they kind of do have a little later, but like there's no church that's really involved in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No religion at all. Like they mentioned like how the Quran has the jinns and stuff like that. Like if you haven't seen it, you'll get that later on. It's not a spoiler, but it's just like an origin of a monster of like where they read it from, the Quran, the Bible, blah blah blah. And they take these stories and then do that. But that was the big mistake, is that there's not like multiple competing organizations.
Yeah.
Because I do like that the hunters in Supernatural are hunters of like, all of them came together because of a tragedy, and there is a society that was like of hunters, and they taught some regular hunters, but they went and did their own thing. So it's like a hunter sees a hunter and they know they're a hunter, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then later on, like as you go through the season, you'll see like there was one society here and one society over there, and some people that they might have known were part of this society, but they kept it a secret because they, stuff like that. And like, it makes sense to have those. But what doesn't make sense is like to take religion out of it, because it's a pretty interesting component. Like
it's a pretty big origin for a lot of these concepts.
Yeah, because all the monster stuff does take place in a world that's supposed to be exactly like ours. and the knowledge usually comes from the Bible, and it's usually related to demonic stuff, right? So especially Dracula, biggest one is Dracula, you know, and then, you know, curses came from, like, the curses that are recorded, the first ones are from the Bible, you know, like we know about curses because of that. And then a lot of our mythos throughout history that people wrote about curses because they know what the Bible is. I don't think there's one author who's never read the Bible and hasn't adapted some story that's related to something that they read in the Bible.
Maybe. I don't know about J.K. Rowling, but that woman doesn't seem to have read anything.
She probably has, let me tell you.
Hard to believe.
Like, well, after Harry Potter, you could tell she's not a writer. She cannot write worth a damn. Like, she wrote Harry Potter, like, maybe she was inspired. You know, like, but other than that, it's like, and she kept breaking her own lore, even in the books.
My life is ruined.
Well, like, in the books, the problems were, like, we have these certain spells that we used before.
Never mentioned.
And then a situation where they could use those spells, but they're like, we can't have this happen. Like, fool, you literally have, like, potions and stuff.
She couldn't keep, like, a document just with everything.
A lore master or somebody.
Just put a Google.
Like, that's an actual position.
Just put a Word document with everything on it.
It's like, there's these rules, this, and this. Like, I get it. Tolkien's not a perfect man. Like, some of his stuff, like, there's contradictions. Like, he wrote a whole mythology, but at least, like, it's, like, pretty congruent. And I think, I might be wrong here, but I think a lot of the contradictions come from a character decision. So I haven't read all of it, but I know a lot of people who have, and I'm trying to read all of it. But there's the contradictions that I've seen is usually a flawed character, or a character made an emotional decision, or a decision that character would make. Usually,
and then there's, like, some confusions here and there. He changes up the words for a lot of things. Often.
Oh yeah, and you know, it's fine. But
and then I think there's two objects he changes how they actually work, but I can't remember which ones.
Might be the Palantir. That one's the one I think he touches on a lot.
He touches on that one fair bit in, like, a lot of things. And then I think the flask of light, the light of the Elendio or something, or the
Evening Star
or whatever. He changes how that works too. In one of them.
I have to read up on that.
Apparently, it was used before that, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I'd buy it. That's just before that, but yeah, I think it's a good show too. Like, it's a very tamed show, Firefly, and
I think we need shows like that more.
Yeah, we do need more shows like that. And it's also a show that it shows you how to establish good characters. You know, characters, because there's not one character that I'm not, like, I have ranks for them.
Yeah.
There's, like, the characters I'm least interested in. But there's not one character that I'm not interested in to see what happens next with.
I agree.
You know? Like, even characters that we don't know about. Like, are we going to see these other characters again? Are we going to... What are the Reapers going to do when we actually encounter them? How are they going to handle that? You know?
What are they actually going to look like?
Yeah. Like, who's the leader of the Alliance? You know, like, what... That kind of stuff. Like... And I think it was well paced. Like, one thing that's, I think, okay, so I've watched Game of Thrones, right? And I've recently watched the newest episode of House of the Dragon. A big problem that I see with normies is they will watch House of the Dragon, and I could see them being like, all right, like, let's wrap this up and get to the action. They do, like... People that are in this world already have been a part of it for a long time, maybe even read the books. We all understand, and I haven't read the books, but I'm in it, right? We understand that there's a lot of conversating and a lot of, you know, intriguing stuff of manipulations and what people are going to do and decisions, all that stuff, the political side of things. So we're all right sitting there, but I could also see the normies just like, man, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we move on from this? We already know what's going to... So I understand that. Mm-hmm. But it's not to say that I had bad pacing either.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of things could have been a little more condensed. Mm-hmm. A little more, but the thing is, they didn't do a bad job. The writing was pretty good. The dialogue, awesome. A lot of show don't tell, which is great, and it's awesome. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there was a lot of, obviously the implication of decapitating a child, terrible, and from what I read.
Sweet.
Obviously unnecessary. From what I read, it was like they made them younger in the show. I don't know what for, because they're in like 3 or 4 scenes total. I don't know if it was for a shock factor, but that's like, if you guys did that, F you guys. What the hell?
It's definitely shock factor.
That's ridiculous. That's insane.
There's no shot.
Yeah. Because it's not like we're gonna be sad for them. We're like, what the freak are we watching, man? And then like the next 2 episodes after that, I don't know if it happened in the second episode or the first episode, but this third episode, good lord, was there unneedless nudity. Like bro, nudity? Dude, you just see this chick blowing this monstrous dick, just like freaking, and you're like, oh, and like the camera's like right there, boom.
What episode is this?
And then right after that, you see one of the, like, I guess not main side characters curl up in a ball in a brothel, and then like the king comes in and is like, oh my gosh, you're still with like your first, like the person who took your virginity first or whatever, which is a whore, and he plays it off like it's nothing, and then he gets up, full frontal dick, pubes, everything, head to toe, and I'm like, bruh, who needs this? He couldn't have just like done the whole camera thing where they show the side, like the hip, and then when they show their face, like they just walk away. They even show his butt. Like, dude, the only thing left was to get like
reach your ass.
No, the only thing left was to get one of those things for what's it called?
The colonoscopy?
Yeah, the colonoscopy camera, to shove it right up there, because you get everything else. You get his gooch, all of it. And you're like, the fuck, man? Why?
Get a gooch.
And he like the dialogue, like, and like I already did this, like right as like you see his butt, I'm like, ugh. And then like I put my hand like, all right, like he's just turning around so the camera's gonna pan out. No, full dick. And then I was like, oh, and I did that, and like he has like good dialogue, like the acting, but it's like, your dick is there, man. Like this acting ain't helping, because it's like he talks like a whore is just as good as any other. I'm done with her. Like shows off like he's cool or whatever, and then he just walks away, and like, bruh, I didn't want that.
Cool, I guess.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of tits too, but you're gonna see some dick. Didn't like that.
Like when I watched Reacher, and then that shower sex, and he's just straight up his ass the entire time on the camera. I will never forgive them for what they did.
Well, if you see that chick's butt, like, it's non-existent. So
I will never forgive. No, she has more butt than boobs.
Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't, man?
Anyway, I will never forgive them.
You'll forgive them in the next season. Have you even gotten to the stripper episode? Then you'll forgive them there. Yeah, she's whatever. I've never read the Reacher novels. I hope not to see that character again. At least recast, I don't like seeing ugly people on screen.
Not ugly.
Nude wise. If your body ain't good, like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a fat chick nude. I don't want to see a fat dude nude. I don't want to see dick and balls ever.
She wasn't fat.
I'm not saying she was fat, but there's other fat people that are nude on screen.
He's dead.
Yeah, but bruh, you see dick and ball or not? dick and non-existing balls.
He's dead.
I don't want to see it. Good lord! And then in Game of Thrones, at least like there should be a way to like turn on subtitles, but it's only for warnings of like nude scene coming up. And I'm like, oh okay.
No, because only fags care about that.
Oh, you'll care as soon as you watch this thing.
I'm
dude,
gonna laugh so
long
hard.
Dick, long like this shit.
Why
Is
are
like,
you putting it in your mouth, bro?
dude. You'll see it. It is shock. Like people have watched pornos tamer than this. Like it was insane.
Beautiful. How long are each episode?
Like an hour.
Damn.
Like 40 minutes to an hour.
It's like
pretty sure it's an hour.
Like 6 hours of my day.
Because Game of Thrones, it was on TV, so it was like 40 minutes. Like usually the beginning, like you saw Firefly was like an hour 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. The first episode is gonna be like an hour, hour longer. Yeah. No, but luckily also it's eight episodes a season, and it's launched every Sunday at 9 p.m. So right now season 2 is happening, so you get some time to catch up. Like I'll talk about it, and I know that you don't really care too much about spoilers. I'm not really spoiling anything. It's more of the action scenes, and I'm keeping the names vague. And regardless, you're gonna get lost because they're very similar. People are named after older kings and whatnot.
It don't matter.
Yeah, like I think you'll like it. Have you started Game of Thrones at all? You should probably start.
I haven't touched anything.
Man, you should probably start.
I've been watching Justified, man. And it took me like 13 episodes to figure out where I had seen the main guy.
Yeah. Where?
Plays a cowboy in this one. And then I'm like, man, this guy's voice sounds very familiar. He looks very familiar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's because he's also Cobb Vanth.
Oh, awesome.
I was like, this is some 13 episodes. It took me 13 episodes to figure out where
to realize you're retarded.
Yeah, dude, I felt super retarded. Then again, I watched the episodes very late.
Yeah. I got you. Nah, man. Yeah, did not need that. And there was, dude, there were comments like people were like, that dick was really unnecessary. Like both scenes, and I'm like, and the child beheading wasn't.
No.
And like,
it's a show of ruthlessness.
Fool, no.
Yes.
Really, like, do it with adults. I don't care.
That's not very ruthless. You're an adult.
It's
you can take care of yourself.
Like, okay, look, man. Regardless, you put in any movie, if a guy hits a girl, it's pretty damn ruthless. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a pretty normal thing. It's a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it happens.
But it's like it's enough to be like, okay, this is a ruthless world, and then you could imply like an adult killing a child.
Damn, that piece of your nose was kind of fluke.
Yeah, it's because sunburn and a zit mix. So no, but you could imply they're gonna kill the child. Karen pens through room, just like okay, The Dark Knight Rises, right? And there's the implication and confirmation that obviously Talia and Bruce had sex, but not showing it at all.
I guess so.
So if you're gonna use it as in like, oh, but sex needs to be part of the story, I'm like, well, do it like that. Like, I don't need to see everything. Like, well, again, same conversation is like, do you want to get hard next to a friend or a freaking parent?
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Oh, you like getting hard next to your dad? You go on skiing trips together, you freak?
That's weird. See, that's weird. You bringing that up, that's weird.
Okay, go freaking watch.
Why would I watch that in the first place? I had no interest in the show. Ever.
Oh, you'll have interest.
No.
Not because of that,
this
but
makes
because...
me watch it even less.
Nah, doubtful.
No. I don't want to see all that. I'll let you do with the cock and balls, okay?
I'm warning you at least. Yeah. No, you'll like Game of Thrones is more like...
No, you'll like it. Yeah?
The Game of Thrones is more normal sex scenes so far.
Oh, yeah, like what? Incest? That sounds pretty normal.
No, you don't get to see incest. Oh, you do actually.
Yeah, that sounds pretty normal to me, man.
Yeah, but it's like medieval times type deal, and you're kind
that's
of
not
like
very normal. So
it's not normal.
not normal.
But no, okay, the incest ones you don't get to see nude. like the first episode, like she's getting effed by her brother in a tower, but like all he did was put his pants down and then like put her dress over and hitting it from behind. Yeah, she's the queen at this time, like has 3 kids, all of it. Yeah. So but that's like, I can't remember all of it, but yeah, that's all I can remember from the incest stuff.
So you're gonna leave us with incest stuff?
No.
So what's your final thing?
My final thing is like, in terms of political intrigue and medieval times and what is the story called Game of Thrones. It's very, very good.
Oh, I thought you were very necessary
for the first 5.5 seasons.
Cool.
Yeah, and again, Game of Thrones or the House of the Dragon. I haven't read the books, but I've looked up things about the books. We're gonna get a war of dragons, not a war of people. Like that's gonna be the final conclusion. So it's more so like we do it. What was good is like we got to see a beginning and an end to a conclusion in 2 seconds. Where like this house hated this other house and they've been fighting for years. And then they get into battle and you just see thousands just dead. Swords stabbed through like the freaking shoulder down. Like you see like, and it's just brutal. Like, and it's like I would have loved to see the battle, but like that's what came out of it. Like nobody survived. Everybody's dead.
Proper medieval warfare.
Yeah. Everybody's dead. And then they talk about it. And it's important because it's like, okay, we didn't go out to help with the freak. Like, you know, this side, like both sides talking about the battle on their side, how they view it it's very interesting. Now, again, one crazy thing about this show is that even though you like the queen, that's who you're following, everybody's despicable. Almost everybody. Currently, for me personally, I think the current king, after he became king, he became less despicable. Like he would take his son, you know, like cockfights. Pretty much do that with kids, and take his son like to go fight, and like they'd bet on the kids.
That's kind of funny.
It's insane. It's that also I skipped the scene because like it's a kid is like little girl comes in just. Like big old punch and you just hear that, yeah, and it was like, oh, what, this is evil. And luckily one of the chicks that used to be a whore, she like kind of made her way in life, like being like, I guess they call her a whisperer. Mm-hmm. You know, having people infiltrate, knowing information, you know, holding people for ransom, whatever. She's like a little up there, and that's like her main thing that she wants to get rid of in Westeros.
Children fighting.
Yeah, because she deems it evil, which it is, you know.
Yeah, it's so
and then I think they do it, but you know, the hand was kind of pissed about it, because he spent a lot of money, and she kidnapped the king.
Oh,
the heir, or at least the heir to the throne, because they were looking for him. They're like, "Where is he?" He's like, "I have him." Like she got to him before anybody could. The King's Guard, anybody. He's like, "I got him, and I will give you his position as soon as you get rid of this." Like that's all I want. I want that done. So it's pretty cool. And so yeah, and then there's the whole coronation. And then I guess what's different from the books to this is like one of the like they're somebody who's related has a dragon, and they're keeping her there, and they're killing off everybody who's not swearing their fealty to the king, mm-hmm. right? And there's a crypt under like where he's having his coronation, and she just gets on her, like she goes down, hides, you know, and while he's having his coronation, just comes up with the dragon and just like, and then just looks at the king, and the dragon's like this close. Now, an interesting point is like they bring it up multiple times. I think maybe at least twice, where she she goes away. She leaves him dead. She doesn't kill him. Takes her dragon out, and they're like, yeah, like, man, we're having all these problems. And then like Damon would look at her like, all these problems that could have been solved if you just killed them when you were right there. So you mean to tell me you had your dragon pointed at him and you didn't kill him? Now I understand that's like, okay, this would be in front of the whole kingdom, all of Westeros.
Yeah.
And word would definitely get out. Very hard to like probably get the trust of the people, you know. But like, yeah, like she didn't want to do that, I guess. And also, yeah, like it's something like, and she'll say like these wise things, and it's like, yeah, so much bloodshed's gonna happen. It's like, yeah, all could have been avoided. And it's like that thing in the back here, all could have been avoided if you just killed them with your dragon.
Yeah.
Because now there's the risk of dragons, and I don't know what the writers were trying to do because it's not in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it a different way. Now, I enjoy the king, the current king, because it's like, dude, he really cared about his kids, especially his son. And also, his dad was even though he was like a nice person, didn't give a crap about him. And he also like kind of gave up his terrible ways. He drank a lot. And he's trying to be a good king. He wants to be for the people. So like, one of the guys is petitioning, and he's like, my king, like, I want to petition. I would have been better prepared to give sheep to your dragons, because they took dragons to prepare for the war in case something happens. Mm-hmm. They can still have food. But I only have half the stock that I once had. And then he's like, then we shall replenish them. It's like, and he's like, oh, thank you, my king. And then the hand of the king is like, my lord, I do not deem it wise that, we give him stock. It's like, we took his stock, and now we're in debt, and I'm giving it back. Yes, but if you give one of your, I forget, not peasants, but like subjects, then they will all come and asking and expecting the same. Mm-hmm. And he's like, in further thought, I decided not to do that, and then that's it. So it's like, he's trying to be king, but he has no idea what the freak he's doing.
Yeah.
So like, he doesn't want to be a harsh king, and then he like starts effing around, and then it's like, also the current, what's this called? The knights for the king. I forget what it's called. Well, the main knights for the king. I forget what they're called, but the guy is very undeserving in his position. He's like the main knight, right? Mm-hmm. And you could see that he's super way over his head, because he didn't mean to be. He wasn't like, he was just trying. He was making a lot of mistakes and trying to be a good knight. And in the first season, you pretty much love the guy up till episode 6. And dude, never has there been a turnaround for me of like, man, this is a really cool guy, and then I just despise him. Like, after I think episode 5 or 6 is when I'm like, this guy's a freaking dick. I hate this guy, because he started off as like a normal dude. Mm-hmm. He's seen battle. He was a Kingsguard. That's what it's called. He's seen battle. And he beat Daemon in like a jousting fight in the first episode. Mm-hmm. And then when Princess Rhaenyra, who's supposed to be queen, was looking for somebody to defend her, to be her Kingsguard, she picked him because he's the only one with battle experience and not old. Mm-hmm. And so picked him. So he came from a regular like soldier to regular like common person to soldier to immediately Kingsguard. Mm-hmm. Like for the princess. Okay. Years later, princess is older. She has kids and whatnot. He becomes when the king dies, the head of the Kingsguard is in the same room with him, right, in the council. And then he overhears it, and he's like, until there's a king. And then he takes off his cape, which represents purity, the white capes, throws on the table, like, I will not be ordered, and then leaves. So then he gets appointed the King's Guard, like the head of the King's Guard. Mm-hmm. And now it's in disarray because it's not really training him. But then he fires the new king fires the hand of the right hand of the king, mm-hmm. and appoints him to be his hand, as well as on top of being the head of the King's Guard of all the knights. And so he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's showing up late for the meetings. He's not even bouncing. He has a lot of guilt because he's not doing right by anything, mm-hmm. right? Because he started sleeping with Princess Rhaenyra, and he's like, I've destroyed my vow. I've become this, and this, and like, I'm not worthy of wearing this cape. And you're like, man, like this guy is like, he's like, I shouldn't have broken my vow of chastity, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're still doing it, and he's somewhat keeping her secret. And then they go to a trip so that she could get married to this gay dude, but who's also the Valyrian line, also dragon tamers, which is Valyria used to be where all the dragons were from, mm-hmm. I think. And I think, don't quote me on that. But then he like kind of makes a plea with her, like, I know how we could get out of here. Like, why don't you just run away together? Me and you can actually be married because they love each other. Like, we mm-hmm. like we want to be together. It's like, no, the crown is more than me. Mm-hmm. The responsibility is more than our desires and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, but we have an accord, me and my soon to be husband, you know, we are allowed to go venture off into our own desires. And then he's just like pissed, like, so I could be your whore. And mm-hmm. he's like, he like gets pissed, and I totally understand it. It's like, so you made me like break my vow and like do all this. I'm not worthy, and I still have to watch you be with somebody you don't love, and it's not me in front of all these people. Like, I don't exist. Yeah. And then he's like, no, like, F it. Yeah. And he gets pissed, but he's still King's Guard. And then like at the party for the wedding ceremony, the gay dude's lover finds out who like she's sleeping with, and she's like, huh, it's that guy, one of the King's Guard, which is not supposed to happen. So then he goes up to him and is like, you know, I know your secret. He's like, it's good. He's like, it's good that you know her secret as well as she knows yours. And then he goes up to like, I'm just saying, we want to keep their secrets because safe. Then we're safe. Mm-hmm. You know, because the king is like starting to bang dudes, it's gonna be a problem. Yeah, you know, and then the king, and then you just hear like a fight break out, and his name is Castian, mm-hmm. and he just starts going ham on this dude, like, you just and you know, it's coming to blows, and then he like just puts his little gauntlet thing over and opens his face until it's like, this is all just hanging, just dead, just yeah. So yeah, it's
so the royal guard dude does that to the gay lover.
Yeah. And then they have to send everybody away, and then they get married. Yeah, and he's still not demoted. Like, you think he would be sentenced to death or something, and we don't. That's the problem. We don't really get a conclusion of why did this guy do that. Like, where's the trial? Like, all this stuff. Like, why'd you kill somebody at my daughter's, you know, wedding party? Whatever.
Well, not like the guy could have said anything, but he could have given a million reasons why.
No, yeah, I understand that, but like, there was no. From what I can remember, the king did interrogate him. Mm-hmm. There wasn't like an out roar of whatever it was, because both parents were there. The princess and the prince, they're getting married. Everybody was there. Everybody that's supposed to be really important was there. Damon was there. Everybody was there. And then nothing.
Oh.
So at least from what I remember, maybe there was something. I have to look back, but as far as I can remember, there was no conversation about that. And I think that's a pretty big problem. Like there was a conversation where they're like, yeah, like maybe he acted out of impulse or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of doo doo. Okay. But I'd say you're gonna enjoy Game of Thrones a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. House of the Dragon. I think it's good if you watch Game of Thrones first and then House of the Dragon, because House of the Dragon does take a slower approach. There's a lot less mystery they leave you with House of the Dragon. Mm-hmm. It's more like you're wondering about the decision. But like Game of Thrones, there's prophecies. There's like things happen, which you don't know you don't even know what the next episode is gonna bring you. So you're like, you want to keep watching. Yeah. Like when I watched Game of Thrones, and I watched it after everything was over. Yeah. And years after, because I'm like, is it really all that bad? And then I watched it, I'm like, oh, I get why people hated it. Freaking sucked at the end. Yeah. But great journey. Like it was the most watched thing in TV history, the most pirated thing. Yeah. Yeah. And like it was a freaking phenomenon, dude. Yeah, that's how some friendships have formed. It's through this show. Like some YouTube channels started because of this show that are massive now. Like people's career started because of this show. This is insane. Like almost all the actors, like they wouldn't have a career without the show.
Okay.
Like, dude, and like, man, the Lannisters are my favorite part of the show. You'll like their armor. They have a lion armor. They're considered, they're pretty freaking awesome, dude. It's tight. Yeah, so I highly recommend it. It's a good, it's a good like medieval stuff, fantasy for sure. Because that's the thing, like I think you'll also appreciate dragons more because you get the talk of dragons a lot, and then later on you get some dragons. Okay, yeah, it's pretty nutty.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it then.
But yeah, dude, yeah, you gotta watch it. Yeah, and then I don't know how it's gonna end, but like I think the second season, I don't know where I heard it from, or if somebody told me, it's like only a paragraph of the book, or something like that, or a chapter or something, because it's one book. Game of Thrones is like multiple books. Yeah. You know, and they never finished the last one, so we don't really know the true ending. But yeah, I think as crappy as the ending is, so far, House of the Dragon, I'm in it. Okay. Yeah. I had problems with the last episode. I think there's some things that they did wrong and mostly right. So I gave it like a 6 out of 10. You know, enjoyed a lot of it. But yeah, it's starting to get a little slow for me too. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully this next episode will be
better.
Yeah, because it's like it's led up to the conflict of like, all right, we need the dragons, like we need dragon on dragon kind of thing. So it's like, are we gonna get anything with dragons fighting? Yeah, like I'm more interested in what Daemon's gonna do, as well. Like he's kind of commandeered the city, and they sword fealty to Queen Rhaenyra, and he's just chilling there. And then like a chick just comes out, like almost autistic chick that maybe she's a dreamer too, and she just sees like, looks at him like, you're gonna die here, and then walks away, and he's just like, the fuck. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. So cool. I think that's how the episode ends. So yeah, like watch it and then you tell me about it.
All right. Yeah. So final thoughts for the audience?
Well, Firefly, I want to see. We'll see. You guys will get to see. Yeah. You guys will get to see Anderson's thoughts on it. Yeah, like House of Dragon still looking good. You know, I think it's good to watch some old TV. Once in a while, yeah. Yeah, compare it to the new, see how good we actually had it. Because it's also one of those things, yeah, Fox sabotaged it and everything, but it was one of those things that's like, we got so many other good stuff at the same time that a lot of great things also got canceled and we didn't get more of. Yeah. Now it's like, we get a bunch of crap and hopefully there's something semi good. And now House of the Dragons is something great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah. And in terms of comedies, wacky comedies, the only thing I'm watching is Smiling Friends right now.
And that
because you guys turned me to. Did it
season
end?
ended right now. Yeah.
Season 2? It's on HBO, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because they release it on HBO. They don't release it anywhere.
Yeah, just HBO. And then YouTube whenever, like 2 days after the episode comes on.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're planning a lot of things. We're going to talk about a lot of things up to come, of like the videos we're going to make and live streams and what we want to do with it. But yeah, so stay tuned.
Yeah, a bit shorter this time. Kind of started a little late, mainly because of Firefly episode.
Yeah, and then he almost burnt down the place because he put plastic in a microwave. So that was awesome.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And
genius. I'm going to kill you. But yeah, we'll leave you guys with that. And yeah, any closing statements, sir?
No. I also thought it was pretty funny, the microwave thing. I've never seen it do that.
If anybody's got suggestions, leave it in the comments. What you want us to watch right here or talk about. But yeah, like